You say you want to be great, let your actions, let your words display that. If you say you really want to be elite, let your actions and let your words display that. Right? You can't be a common man and do uncommon things. That's uncommon. That's an uncommon mentality. That's an uncommon spirit. That's an uncommon disposition. Don't ask me if I'm all right. No, we not. Every single day, do you dominate in what you do?
You got to come out your comfort zone, because your comfort zone is the deadliest place you will ever be. You should never feel comfortable. You should be happy and dissatisfied.
The masters make the hardest things in the world look easiest, and in the moments where you push yourself when no one else is around, those moments have a tendency to lead to success.
I think people kind of fear taking that first step into progress because it's going to result in a change. If you can only see the negative aspects, then of course you're never going to want fucking change. You'll just stay where you are.
How do you overcome fear of failure, or fear of success, or fear of fear itself? Step. That step towards your fear is the step into bravery.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." If you don't fail, you're not even trying.
We're afraid when we don't face reality. The more we try to avoid the inevitable, the more likely the inevitable is going to be. You're going to get hurt. I wasn't born to be wrapped up in bubble wrap and a blanket and sit on the couch and tremble as the world goes by outside my door. I want the world to tremble when I go by its door.
Fear is never reaching your potential. That's it. But always falling short, always quitting before you're done, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing. And then one day you're an old man.
Yep.
And you look back, God,
Yep.
I couldn't be.
So what keeps me going? I quit several things. I know what's on the back end of fucking quitting. It's a lifetime of thinking about why the fuck did I do that?
You have the opportunity to play this game of life. You need to appreciate every moment. A lot of people don't appreciate that moment until it's past.
If I could go back to that moment and just not be afraid, just recognize that look, whatever could be out there, I could have it.
The other thing that's so interesting about being alive is that you're all in. No matter what you do, you're all in. This is going to kill you. So I think you might as well play the most magnificent game you can while you're waiting, because do you have anything better to do?
Regardless of how I fucking feel and how depressed I am, the sun is gonna fucking shine in the morning. And at nighttime, the moon gonna be there. You gonna look up, these days gonna keep going by. So do you let the days go by and look up and you done wasted a year doing what? Or do you just pick it up? All right. Figure it out, made some mistakes, life goes on. And figure out life from this point.
And my biggest fear, honestly, was, let's say this. Let's say, I don't care if you believe in God or not. I don't care. Let's just play a game with me. Let's say you're God. And we have a big fucking long line of people. And I made it to heaven. 75 years old, I'm 300 pounds. I made it to heaven. I worked for Ecolab my entire life, spraying for cockroaches. That's what I did. But I'm dead. I'm in heaven now. And you're judging us all now. So we're in line. We're all sitting there in line. You have Adam Brown. He has a big board up, and you're talking to Adam Brown about his life. And you rip it down, and I'm next in line. David Goggins. I see my name. I see all this shit. And God goes, hey, you say, read this, man. And I'm reading this list, and I'm seeing 182 pounds, Navy SEAL, Ranger School, motivational speaker, changing lives. Okay, man, pull-up record, all this shit. And I'm like, that's not me, man. And God looks at me and says, that's who you were supposed to be. At the end of the day, I asked myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. So a lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step, so if I choose not to, that's on me. I got to live with that. Most people think I'm just some animal who runs and yells and just says mother all the time. And that's nowhere near the truth. That's maybe what they see in a 1-minute video, and that's what we believe. But there's a lot of thought behind a person being a born loser, becoming who I am today. You don't just wake up and just rocky. You gotta wake up and think about, there's a process to getting better. For me, I built Goggins from the ground up. I was born David Goggins. David Goggins wasn't good enough. He was a scared, bullied, abused kid. That kid, whenever something got tough, no matter how hard I trained, no matter how ready I was, whenever something got tough for me, David Goggins, the real David Goggins, would come out and he would quit. So I realized this over a period of time. So I had to build Goggins. And in that process, I had to go back to that mental lab. And that mental lab is at scratch. That mental lab is in that trained humility. And so that's where I get better. I get better when I'm digging holes in the ground, when I'm waking up early knowing I don't have to do these things. That's where I get better.
I'm telling the truth, which every man knows is intrinsically true in his heart, because God has instilled him with a basic degree of morality of right and wrong. I'm saying things to a 17-year-old boy and he's going, he makes sense. I get it. Everything I was told so far just didn't quite click, but this does. And that's what they're so scared of. I was talking about this the other day. I was talking about how I have a pet peeve, and one of my pet peeves is painkillers. And I was being typical me, and I was going over the top. And I was discussing with this guy. This guy said, have you got any aspirin? I said, there's no aspirin in my house. And he said, why? I said, brother, you are not facing 1% of the life difficulties I am facing. Think about it. No government's trying to lock you up. The Matrix isn't after you. They're not trying to frame you. Nobody wants you dead. When God finally gives you a tiny headache, to give you something to show you're half a man, a little bit of resilience, you pussy out and take an aspirin. Can you just have a headache? Just have a headache. And not only just have a headache and don't mention it, because I don't care. So don't even talk about it. Nobody needs to know. What do you want? Do you want therapy? You want sympathy? Nobody cares you have a headache. Shut up. Like nearly any problem on earth, whether it's men's mental health, whether it's women's mental health, no matter what it is, whether it's crime, no matter what it is, how do you fix the problem? By building men of caliber, by building men of capability and status and honor and dignity, and by building men of ability to be good standing citizens who are respected by their peers. All of it comes back to improving men. All of it. Every single problem you can possibly name, it comes back to building strong men of capability who are respected. That's all. It's the baseline of humanity. Men always has been the baseline of humanity. And that's why nearly every problem we can name, all of them are in a direct negative correlation with masculinity. As masculinity plummets, all this garbage is going up through the roof. Is that a coincidence? Absolutely not, really not. It's you can literally see it with a graph, and you can see it happening. Saving the way men think and operate, growing a new generation of men who understand they have duty to themselves, their last name, and God, literally saves the world. All of it.
Women respect men who stick by their principles and their beliefs, and the principles and beliefs of a man are always to do what he is supposed to do regardless of how he feels. You must train when you don't feel like training. You must protect when you don't feel like protecting. You must be a good man. And when you're actually a truly good man and a high value man, this is something I absolutely realized in jail. I have no problem suffering if the people I love are not suffering. My children are taken care of. The women I love are taken care of. My mother is taken care of. Everybody around me is fine. Even if they've removed me from my life and locked me in a jail cell, everybody I love is taken care of and is protected and is living good. I must suffer because I am a man. I am the head of my empire. I'm the head of the clan. Of course I will suffer, but the people I love are not suffering.
My coach was saying that you guys can win the Olympics. That's what most kids need to hear. A sense of encouragement, depending where you come from, how you were brought up, how you were raised. Well, speaking of confidence to a young kid is powerful. Because now I believe I can do something. And I just worked hard, just worked extremely hard every single day.